Today's meeting also acts as a preparatory meeting for the second National Congress of the Communist Party of the Majority, an important meeting where important party decisions shall be made. I would like to share with you some of our collective experiences, and we know maybe this shall enrich our party building process. Comrades, what does it mean to be a member of the Communist Party, now referred to as CPK of the majority, after the minority CPK Kenya Kwanza faction went to bed with the current corrupt bourgeois state? Of course, there is the bare minimum as outlined by our party constitution and the code of conduct. But most importantly, we have to be good pupils of Marx and Lenin, not just in theory, but in theory and practice. Some comrades, after going through the party school, have a false illusion that they are high achievers. Some only consider even paying membership dues or belonging to a party cell. But these are only the very minimum of what it takes to be a party member. To be leaders in the party calls for more sacrifices than the bare minimum. Comrades, let's remind ourselves about what it means again. We also have what it means again to be a member of the Communist Party of Kenya. We also have a job to do in bringing more people into the party. And once we are in, we need to get involved in all the different parts of the party, like study circles and party organizations at all levels. Attending party meetings and doing our assigned tasks are important too. We need to be reliable and get things done. But being a communist isn't just about the party. It is all about spreading the word into our communities and workplaces and supporting the causes that fight for fairness and justice. We should always be ready to learn and grow as individuals and to help others understand what communism is really by practice, not just theory. And let's not forget to stand up for what is right, whether it is here at home or around the world. So being a communist, being active, supportive, and always ready to make a difference in the lives of the most dispossessed. Comrades, to build a powerful political party, we need a unified central leadership and a unified planning and discipline throughout the party organization. This is the task we have set for ourselves for the last 1.5 years as per the resolutions of the first interim Central Organizing Committee after the sharp split of the party. I know at the moment we have irreconcilable differences with the CPK minority currently serving the bourgeois state, but what should be our attitude towards them? For them, they have chosen a destructive path of slander, lies, and childish attack on our great party. Chairman Mao, the towering hero of the global proletariat movement and the founder of the new China, People's Republic of China, teaches us that on one side, we must listen to those who criticize us with good intention, giving them opportunities to express their views and adapting a policy of both unity and struggle towards them. On the other side, we must also provide a listening ear to the abusive types as the turncoats that are now mercenaries at the service of the bourgeois state, while refuting their nonsense and accepting what makes sense in their rebukes. This is better for the party, the people, and building socialism. The common program, comrades, as ordered by the Central Organizing Committee and published under the name of the People's Charter, must help us to unite the party and non-party actors, especially in this stage of the struggle. Also, the party must have many formations, so long as they have specific purpose and are led by the hardcore party members. This can both be subversive and also, of course, overt. We must always remember that things always stand in their opposites. There are sectors that were hostile to us a few years back, but now are friendlier to us. And also, there are persons or sectors that were friendlier to us, but now are hostile to us. There are people who are in opposition to the party, but are also not in opposition. Always proceeding from being in opposition and not being in opposition. This is influenced not just by the changing circumstances, but also by the revolutionary work that we continue to forge ahead with. The Communist Party of Kenya, as well as other parties in Kenya, are all products of history. What emerges in history disappears in history. So just like other political parties, the Communist Party of Kenya shall disappear. This disappearance is not necessarily bad in itself. When we achieve our revolution and conduct the dictatorship of the proletariat to its logical conclusion, just like the classes shall disappear, the parties shall surely disappear gloriously to welcome the new dawn of a true communist society. Our task is to hasten their extinction. However, at this particular point, we cannot do without the party. What is even more urgent is to build it into a more powerful party. Otherwise, how so can we achieve our task, the task of liberating our homeland? How should we deal with the people who have made mistakes in the party, comrades? Maybe the most obvious answer is to develop a policy towards them based on our experiences. The position they hold and all other factors, even looking at the constitutional provisions. But the question we must always ask ourselves, if it is timely to carry out the policy and how shall it affect our great party? We must always learn from the past mistakes to avoid future blunders and to cure the wrong elements weighing on the possibility of allowing the people who make mistakes to rectify themselves and continue taking part in the revolution. Those who reject the middle forces and do not want to allow comrades to correct their mistake and to continue performing their revolutionary tasks are indeed dogmatists. How can you bar people who have committed errors from participating in the revolution? We, however, with strictness, must know the difference between making mistake and counter-revolution. Sometimes we have heard other comrades saying that for those who made errors, we should give them time and observe them to see if they can change. However, our collective task cannot stop at observation. We must help them correct their mistakes. So primarily, we shall observe, and secondly, we shall help the comrades to change. This attitude must not only be for the party members, also those in leadership, but also for those we are organizing outside the party to participate in our revolutionary process. Everybody needs help, comrades. Those who make mistakes need help to rectify their errors. And those who have not made mistakes also need help to make themselves better people. These are lessons that we must take at heart. Maybe no one is free from mistakes, only that some make fewer mistakes than others. And some need more help to avoid mistakes than others. How do we help those who have made mistakes, other than criticism and encouraging self-criticism in the party? Comrades, we must make also efforts to create better conditions to help those who have erred to mend their ways and return to the party line. In so doing, we must pay close attention to matters of principle or ideology. Such cannot be tolerated and must be corrected through internal party struggle, depending on their severity. While those mistakes on the question of practice, we can always help those comrades through criticism and providing better conditions or environment. Comrades, we must, however, avoid talking about comrades negatively in their absence. This may birth a new problem in the party, which is sectarianism. To build our great party, we need many people, save for those comrades who cling to their mistakes and fail to correct themselves. By and large, the majority of comrades who have erred can correct their mistakes. People who suffer some defeats, particularly, let us say, typhoid, naturally become immune to it. Now that what is true in pure science is also true in social sciences, it follows that comrades who have made mistakes before will make fewer mistakes as so long as they are determined to draw life lessons from those mistakes. It is also true that those comrades who have not made mistakes may be overwhelmed with pride and can be prone to make fatal mistakes hence the precaution. Those comrades who fix people who make mistakes must be careful, because sooner or later, they will find themselves in a fix. When you throw rocks at comrades, you may find yourself being knocked off. To evaluate goodwill, we must look at the attitude of comrades toward those who have made mistakes. Are they well-intentions or ill-intentions? This will help our great party a lot. The clear policy of learning from past mistakes to avoid future ones and curing the sickness to save the patient is one policy that we must all adhere to. In order to unite our great party as a whole, we must stick to this extremely important and avoidable policy. Comrades, we must also put up the slogan of learning from other people. I mean, from good people, as we continue to develop our knowledge to formulate the best policies in line with our party. We are always having weak points and strong points, both at the individual, organization, and regional level. It is imperative that in our notebooks, we must always write down the strong points and the weak points when summing up our work. It is impossible to see all perfection in one and see nothing worthy in the other. Even in our theoretical comparison of socialism and capitalism, each system has strong and weak points. But when we are summing up our analysis, we come to the conclusion that we should build socialism because it is a superior system to capitalism. We learn from dialectics that there are two sides to everything, lest we fall into the era of arbitrariness or absoluteness. To say that there is only one aspect of a thing is to admit ignorance of the other aspect of the same thing. Our permanent policy is to learn from the strong points and ignore the weak points. We must, for example, admit how thoroughly President Ruto is when it comes to spreading believable lies. And even though UD and ODM are thoroughly corrupt parties, but to say that we cannot learn something from them to improve on our party is incorrect. How can that even be true? We must acknowledge that there are always two aspects of things, the strong points and the weak points. This is also applicable, not just in things, but to persons. All we must say is that we must learn with analytical and critical eye and not blindly. We must never copy everything indiscriminately and apply it mechanically. We must never pick their shortcomings or weak points. We can learn from the heroic people of China and their great party CPC, or the heroic people of Cuba and CCP. But we must never pick up the weaknesses, because CPK has the privilege to learn from those fraternal parties' weakest point and strong point. We can be swelling with pride to be picking an experience from CPC, not knowing that it is already being disregarded as a wrong policy. Hence the requirement of analytical and a critical eye. But comrades, where do we get the critical and or analytical eye? Only through thoroughly studying our party ideology and consistently applying it in our daily lives. All our studies of social sciences, including Marxism-Leninism, must always be linked to our Kenyan reality, that which is universally true. If we make a wrong policy, we should be the first to accept, and like a monkey, we must make a somersault. CPK must be able to hold independent opinion based on concrete analysis of concrete situations, and not swing from one extreme to the other like a pendulum. We may not be able to make all the right policies all the time, but right policies must always outweigh our mistakes. Only in that way we can succeed. Secondly, in our context, our Kenyan realities are bad and good. In building our party, we are faced with a situation that we can be viewed as weak points or as strong points. We are revolutionaries in a country where the majority are backward and lack class consciousness. This situation is true even with the so-called scholars. So we can be conceited and arrogant that we are the best and most knowledgeable in our country. Some of our former leaders will walk around, in idle talk that they are like giraffes. So they hover above the masses and the masses remain below them. What a silly idealism. But how will that help us build the party? Or we can take the correct revolutionary stand to nurture our environment where we can plant revolutionary seeds to help protect the future of our great party. In conclusion, dear comrades, we must always remember that the world is full of contradictions. Without them, the world ceased to exist. Our task in the party is to handle the contradictions correctly. We must always be conscious that as we encounter contradictions and work towards resolving them, there shall be the emergence of new contradictions. Things can be extremely difficult now, but the future shall be glorious. Comrades, let's mobilize all positive factors, both inside and outside the party, both home and abroad, both direct and indirect, and build a powerful Communist Party of Kenya as a true detachment of the working class, as the true vanguard of the Kenyan working class and the poor. Comrades, let's unite and fight fearlessly for the glorious future of the socialist Kenya. Long live CPK. Long live Kenyan workers. Long live the Kenyan masses. Long live comrades.
Long live!